పాయింట్స్ డిస్కస్ చేసుకుంటాం. ఆ తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ స్టెప్స్ మనం వెళ్దామండి. అర్థమైంది కదా?
Yeah.
ఇప్పుడు ఓపీటీ లోన్ తీసుకోవాలా లేకపోతే గ్రీన్ కార్డ్ లోన్ తీసుకోవాలా అనేది మనం బయట మార్కెట్ ఎలా ఉంది, ఆ మార్కెట్ అనుగుణంగా మనం క్యాండిడేట్ చూస్ చేసుకుంటాము. అదండి ఈరోజు ఎజెండా అయితే అదే అదే కొండల గారికి కూడా అదే చెప్పారు.
సరే.
అదండి మీట్లో మీట్లో ఉంటాను. వెంకట గారు మీరేమైనా మాట్లాడతారా? ఏమన్నా?
అయిపోయిన తర్వాత మాట్లాడదాము.
సరే.
All right. Just give me a second.
సింహాన్ని ఊడిచారు ఉంటారా ప్రసాద్?
సింహాన్ని చెప్తానండి. నేను చేసే లిప్స్ మీరు చేయండి అయితే.
నేను ఫార్వర్డ్ చేస్తాను మెసేజ్. జస్ట్ 1 minute.
So when you're ready, just let me know so I can start.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Sitaram.
Wonderful. Thanks for coming to the demo. Today we'll discuss about the end-to-end machine learning and data science lifecycle. This will be topic for today, but eventually we'll also discuss about what we'll be covering in the course and other things. So you should be seeing a white screen with just one ABC Bank. I hope you guys are able to see the screen.
You're able to see this. Yes.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
So this, I request everyone to go on mute if speaking. There's an echo coming to me. All right. So in this example, we were trying to understand that in practical world, how do we do machine learning processing and specifically the end-to-end science life cycle. Free, could you go on mute? Okay, I've muted it. So what we are trying to understand is end-to-end machine learning life cycle, and specifically understanding about a data science life cycle. And we'll try to see what are the pieces which are essential for upcoming AI engineers, data scientists, machine learning engineers, for them to get a job or entry into the market. So in this example, I'm talking about, imagine we go back 20 years and then see how typically a bank or a retail company works. In this particular example, I have taken about a bank. This is an ABC bank. And imagine if it does a regular banking process. And what we do is we basically go to the bank and withdraw money or deposit money. Typically, all these transactions goes and sit into something called as ODSs. ODSs are like operational data stores, which are typically used for storing all the transactions which happened during that day. And if we are asking questions and if the senior executives wanted to understand how the bank is working, how to take some decisions based on the working of the bank, like how much is the account balance in the bank, how many deposits are happening, how many withdrawals are happening, are there any inquiries for loans, and so on. So they used to have people run SQL queries. So again, this is what I'm talking about. 20 years back, people used to run these kind of SQL queries in terms of some jobs, and a data analyst, data scientists used to be there who used to create these queries, and then they used to run these queries on the operational data stores. And typically the queries are yielding to some kind of outcomes. They create some reports or some kind of physical dashboards, and those dashboards used to be shown to the senior executives so that they can take some decisions. This used to happen for many years, but what happened is, because these SQL queries were running on during the day, they were creating issues to the ODSs, because there are slow learning jobs, and then because there is, at the same time, there is business happening and the queries are also running, they are slowing down the actual tables. So because of which, people decided that let us not run these queries during the day, but we'll run during the night. That's when the nightly jobs came into picture. Many people started doing analysis, and all these jobs used to be scheduled in the night. If the business hours are 9 to 5 for this bank, then the jobs used to run later in the night, say like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, even in midnight. And then they used to compile these reports. Early morning, when the executives come, they will have all those reports ready. And this worked very well. And even today, we do have these nightly jobs where all these jobs are scheduled, and we use those jobs for doing data analysis. Now, this is good, but what happened is, because of two disruptions which happened around 2005 era, is adoption of internet and geographical expansion. Because of these two things, what happened is, these companies like the banks and so on, they are no longer confined to a physical location. They've expanded to internet, they've expanded to mobile, and so on. And also they have expanded to other geographies. Previously, companies in US, they used to still have all those branches in US, but eventually what they did is they expanded their operations to, say, Dubai, they have expanded to UK, Australia, India, and so on. So because of the internet adoption and also the geographical expansion, what happened is, we do not have a lean period where I can say, okay, this is the period where there is no operations happening, and that is the time where I can run my job. So people got into this kind of an issue. Now, for that, what people did is, we created something called as warehousing solutions. Now, the warehousing solutions, what they do is they decouple the actual ODSs, actual tables, with the warehousing tables. Warehousing, we can say, like, they are the backups of your actual tables, and specifically designed to do these analytical transactions. Now, the jobs used to run on the warehousing tables. And because of this beauty that they are decoupled from the actual tables, we were not impacting the actual operations. Also, the warehousing tables also give a great advantage that they store large volumes of historical data. Imagine I wanted to analyze the bank's performance today with respect to what it was doing last year or last week or last month. I will be able to do it because I have historical data of all those transactions stored in the tables. This helped data analysts, data scientists a lot, because now they can create these reports, dashboards, and so on, and then they will be able to give a lot of analytical information. Data warehousing is even very common these days. There are a lot of jobs in this space where we could do BI reporting and so on. A lot of work is happening in this space. But what happened is like, this data warehousing is typically storing structured information in terms of tables and so on. And if I take a 10-year step back, what happened is adoption of unstructured data in terms of textual, data in terms of videos, images, and other sensor related information has started. Because of which people started creating something called as data lakes, which are capable of storing images, videos, text, sensor information, and so on. Now, these data lakes, I'm generalizing it, but data lakes typically are not only storing structured information, but they can also store this unstructured information. A very important concept called as Hadoop started. Hadoop was very, very famous. There were plenty of jobs which came into the market on big data, which will talk about how do we ingest data, how do we transform data, and how do you do those data management related works. All that work, as you're seeing this particular area, where you are having this ability to ingest data into a central data lakes and then manage them, do some transformation. This entire piece is called as data engineering. Even today, we have a lot of jobs on data engineering. Data engineers are the ones who will store, compute, do the computation, do the transformation, do the ingestion, and ensure that the data is in the right format for the data scientist to consume it. With the adoption of cloud, AWS, Azure, and GCP, there are not many jobs which were created, which actually serve this purpose. So not only Hadoop, which does an on-premise installation, people have slowly moved to a managed Hadoop instances, which are on these cloud providers, AWS, Azure, and GCP. Now, what this particular exact piece talks about is how do we store the data, and then how do you do some transformation on the data so that that can be served to your algorithms. So, and they will be able to do some kind of a predictions. Once the data is available, this is available in a very raw format, very pure raw format. We need to understand multiple other pieces for becoming a important data scientist. One other important thing which they need to understand is how do you do EDA? EDA is called as exploratory data analysis. Before getting into any problem, analyzing it and doing it, data scientists have to do this work. They have to analyze your information in a visual format, trying to understand the data and see what is the data trying to tell. What are the patterns of the data, how we can make sure that this data can be used for our analysis. So all those questions has to be answered before we get into building some model for doing some kind of a predictions. And that piece will be done by your exploratory data analysis. There are some tools in the market like Tableau, QlikView, and people can also use Python for writing some of the codes and creating dashboards like Pandas and Matplotlib. They will be able to use all these kind of tools, both proprietary and open source, and they can develop these dashboards. Once the dashboards are developed, they will be able to analyze these patterns and decide, what part of our data will be used for my analysis and how much have to be used. Exploration is quite an important piece of the entire equation, which will give that insights. Once the exploration is done, data scientist does something called as feature engineering. Feature engineering, or creating something called as feature stores or feature marts, is very, very essential. This is the next piece of equation where they are trying to do some kind of transformation on existing data, the raw data which is stored in any of the cloud providers. That raw data will be transformed into something called as features. Now, features are nothing but they are the reusable code snippets or the data components which can be used by other data scientists. Now, previously, what they used to do is if there are multiple data scientists, everybody used to do their own internal analysis, and then they used to create models. But there was no such place where they can share their analysis, share the outcomes of the data, and so on. In the matured data science lifecycle, people create these feature stores or feature marts where the data transformation outcomes can be stored. We can do something called as feature discovery, which is trying to search for features which are suiting my requirements. And then we can also do something called as feature hydration, which is like creating features from raw data and also utilizing them for different purposes, either in terms of some jobs or for retrieving features in a real time. So all the toolings are important, and once the features are ready, this is the time when data scientists or machine learning engineers will try to do something called as modeling. Many times in academics, if you see, people only study about modeling when it comes to AI and data science and so on. They learn about something called as supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, reinforcement learning, and things like that. Of course, this entire central piece is quite big. There's a lot of things to study in this particular central piece. But what happens is this is only one small piece of the equation. We will have a lot of other things to cover apart from just understanding like how do I build a model. But building a model requires a data scientist to do something called as experimentation, where they will try to read the data, they'll try to apply a couple of algorithms, and out of these algorithms, they need to select one algorithm which is performing really well. There is a process in which we do something called as model evaluation, model training, a model fine-tuning. And once the model is finalized, that model will be used for doing future predictions. Now, within these set of modeling, as I mentioned, there is supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, and so on. There are tons of algorithms to understand. During this course, we'll be understanding all those algorithms to see which algorithm is rightly suited for which experimentation. We will also understand about how do we do best selection of models in a real-time sense. And over the years, models has evolved so that we'll practically understand that, which type of models will be suited for which type of business scenarios. So the pros and cons will be understood at this phase. So we have done data ingestion into the data lakes. We did the exploration of the data. We completed creating features and then used those features for doing our data modeling. Once we do all these things, we are ready with a model. We do the experimentation and we are ready with the model. Now this model has to be deployed. Many a times we see that in practical courses, people will stop at this point saying that, okay, we have got the enough amount of accuracy, you have got the precision, you have got whatever your recall metrics and so on. And then they'll say this is the best model. But the actual game starts from here, where they have to do the deployment of the model into production. Now, the deployment happens in two different phases, either in a batch mode or an online mode. Now, this is where data scientists or machine learning engineers will use the tools like DevOps concepts. They will see like, how do we deploy this model via a Jenkins pipeline? Where do I deploy the model? Am I deploying the model on a cloud or an on-prem environment? If I have to deploy that model, how do I combine that into a Docker container, use either Kubernetes or some kind of Dockerization engine to deploy the models onto production? The batch deployment is an example in which there will be batch jobs. Predominantly in the industry, 80% of your machine learning models are running in a batch mode. The batch mode says that every day, say like I get a file which is looking for applicants who want to apply for loan. Imagine the file has 100 records. So then I'll feed that file into a batch mode. Every day at say 9 p.m., you will run this batch, and then they will take the file which is collected on that day. You will pass it to the model. Model will determine whether the applicants are eligible for loan or not. And then it will give give its prediction. The output would also be a file, approved loan file or something like that. And that file will be fed to the downstream systems. This is called as a batch mode, where there is a proper job which is running at a scheduled manner that utilizes the model which we have created for doing predictions. And then it runs on something like a cloud environment. It feeds the data, does the prediction, and then it sends to the downstream. The downstream could be maybe an automated email system which sends emails to the customers. So people who have already approved, they will get an email saying that congratulations, Sitaram, your loan is approved and this is your loan amount. For people for whom the loan is not approved, it might say like, okay, unfortunately your loan is rejected. We look back to you. Please apply after some time, something like that. So that happens in a batch mode. There is another mode called as online mode. Now, online mode, typically, as the name suggests, it is like you create an API. It's a REST API, and the REST API can be served via front-end systems. It could be a web-based system, or it could be a mobile app, or maybe another application. So these APIs will be served in an online mode, and immediately the APIs will be giving back the results. In the batch mode, as we saw, that it is running based on the batch schedule, but API mode is more in a real-time mode. Imagine I log into www.abcbank.com, and then I have a place where I can go and apply for a loan. I pass in all my details, my salary, my bank balance, and all that important information. And then I click on apply for loan button. Then it invokes a API in the backend. It does all the verifications. It calls the model internally, and then immediately it gives back the results saying that congratulations, Sitaram, you have your loan is approved. So that process is typically an online process. So here in this part of the equation, people who work or the jobs which are available are called as machine learning engineering roles. These are the ones who are combination of data science and DevOps. They are the ones who are responsible for doing deployments of the AI models, and then they will also know things like how do I create Jenkins pipelines, how do I compile this application into a Docker container and deploy them onto cloud or on-prem. This is what the job is. Once the deployment is completed, we also need to do something called as monitoring. In data science world, monitoring also plays a very important role because it talks about once my model is deployed, how is it performing? Is it performing according to the requirements which are designed by the bank or not? There are two components of it. One is called as explainability and second one is fairness. Explainability talks about if a model is giving certain kind of results, on what basis is it giving those results? A model should be in an explainable way so that if there are some kind of legal consequences or in terms of any audit consequences, data scientists will be able to explain why the model took so and so decisions. And it becomes very, very essential for financial companies, companies which are involving with legal and compliance related things, to have all these answers very, very clearly laid out. So in monitoring, there will be a component. There are multiple components, but one component will talk about how do we gather the explainability metrics and then use all those explainability metrics for providing information. The second one is called as fairness. Fairness is also important. Fairness talks about if my model is doing predictions, it should be unbiased. It should be free from any kind of bias involving in, say, demography or gender or race, caste, creed, and so on. So all those biases should not impact your model. Imagine I am applying for a loan and my wife is also applying for a loan. And given me and my wife have um, same qualifications, same earning capabilities, same degree, and all that stuff. If I get more loan and she doesn't get, that is a clear case of bias. So those kind of bias should not be induced into your model. And this kind of bias creeps both at the training time while the model is being built, and also during the inference time or the prediction time while the model is being used. Over the time, we also see that the data kind of drifts because during the training time, we might have used one set of data, and while we are deploying the model, while we are using that model, the data could change over time. So we also need to detect those kind of changes and see, like, if there is certain kind of thresholds, then we might need to retrain your model and redeploy a newer model. In the monitoring system, we will be able to see like how we can set alerts, and then how those alerts can help the data scientist to determine any drift in your data or model, and use that drifts for retraining your model. This is about the monitoring phase. The last but not the least, it's called as the AI protocols. AI protocols for the end-to-end data lifecycle is also very important. This talks about, before creating any AI model, there needs to be a thorough analysis on whether that model is going to give us the benefit or ROI of the investment. Many times people get carried away with new technology. So we are getting this generative AI, we're getting this LLMs and all that stuff. So people implement them, create models, and then use them for doing some kind of predictions, only to know that this is not giving them the required ROI. So that comes into AI governance space. AI governance talks about how do we create business use cases? How do we determine the right set of models which will help us to give the required outcomes? What will be those measurable outcomes? What set of models have to be used for getting those outcomes? What type of data needs to be provided to those models? And how do you measure governance aspects of the data? For example, PII information, should we pass or not? If we pass, what will be the strict rules and guidelines for building those models? And how do we track the entire data lifecycle of that of those models? When was the model developed? When was the model deployed? When the model was deployed, what were the accuracy, precision, recall, and other suitable metrics which gives us the authority to deploy this model into production? And who was giving that approval? And then post the deployment, how is the drifts calculated using our monitoring metrics? And then to show that end-to-end life cycle, we create something called as AI governance models. Last but not the least, we'll also learn about something called as machine learning testing. It is the quality assurance piece of it, which is very essential for the data scientist. Typically, there will be testers who has the skill set, but as a data scientist, we also need to understand that how do I test my AI models? There is very, very less significance on understanding how do we do testing of models. And typically in the face of, like, say, the generative AI models, when the generative AI models are coming up, how do you design a testing framework for a generative AI model? Which part of the equation should do the proper testing and so on? That becomes very critical. And we are building those kind of frameworks, leveraging the existing testing frameworks to see like how do we blend the existing testing frameworks in the entire data lifecycle and to reap benefits of proper quality assurance. Once that quality is inbuilt, then we could see that whatever models we have developed, whatever models we have deployed, will be able to give us the maximum ROI without any defects. All right, so this is the entire piece. Too much is covered in this 1.5 hour discussion, which I did. But as you guys are seeing, on the left side of it is where we talk about data engineering piece, where data is ingested, data is stored, transformed, and all that stuff. These data engineers should have both on-prem and cloud-based kind of skill sets. The central piece is where we are talking about data scientists. These are the data scientists, junior data scientists, senior data scientists. They are the ones responsible for creating those algorithms. They feed the data, try to create algorithms, do training, do fine tuning, all that stuff. That is where the central piece is. On the far right side, where we are doing the deployment, this is where the other skill set engineers, they are called as machine learning engineers. They will be the ones who are using the DevOps tooling and all that stuff for deploying these models. So many times when people hear me this session, they ask like, sir, I am a QA engineer, where do I fit? That's when I say like, if you're a QA engineer, try to see if you can blend into a machine learning tester, eventually get into a machine learning engineer, then as a data scientist. So there are different paths for different people to rightly focus on which type of role they have to target. Somebody who is like a DevOps guy, the right tooling will be getting into a machine learning engineer role because it is a blend of operations and data science. So that will be the best role. Somebody who is a pure play programmer, maybe a Java programmer or Node developer or Python developer who has developed a lot of applications. For them, getting into a data scientist role, creating these algorithms, creating those backend applications which serve the algorithms, that will be the best role. And somebody who is coming from a data warehousing background, there are many people who have worked in the past on data warehousing systems. They are the ETL engineers. They now want to get into data science. Now, for them, the best role will be the data engineer path. So getting into the data engineer and then eventually into a data science role, this will be the best route. So with that said, I would like to pause for a minute. I will show you the curriculum as well, but if you have any questions on what this half-an-hour discussion, if you have any questions, do let me know.
Sitaram, go ahead with your curriculum actually.
All right, just give me a second. Just a second.
No problem. Take your time.
So this would be the curriculum for for the AI and generative AI course. So it starts with the foundations of artificial intelligence. So we'll cover around a week time for this foundation. Currently, there's a batch already running. So we are at this phase where we are understanding about the AI. There are a couple of sessions which we have already taken last week, where we're discussing about AI, machine learning, how does the end-to-end life cycle looks like. So today's session was one of that also. And how do we create generative AI-based pipelines? How will be the implementation cycle looks like? The differences between all these terms, where one should pitch themselves for those kind of engineering roles and so on. So this will be a week-long duration. So the entire course would be around 2 months. And that's the duration of the course. And it will be on weekdays, IST timing from Monday to Friday. Typically, the duration will be 1 hour every day. Timing will be 6:30 a.m. IST. So depending upon the conversion, right? We have to see, like, now the daylight saving is also there. So we have to see, depending upon PST, CST, EST time zones, the timing has to be matched accordingly. But it would be 6:30 a.m. IST, which, like, today's session started at 7 o'clock, but 6:30 would be half an hour from today's time, whatever start of today's time. So every day, Monday to Friday will be there. That will be in the US times. It will be Sunday night to Thursday night. That is the timing. So after we complete the foundations, we will get into the Python for artificial intelligence. I'll talk from the basics of utilization of Python. We'll talk about different Python models which will be used. We'll talk about NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, and other libraries which are used for doing AI. Then we'll get into machine learning. Machine learning, as I see, there's a central piece where we need to understand about different algorithms. This itself will take 1 month worth of the course. This is like, the meat of the entire course, where we'll be talking about supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, regression, reinforcement learning, latest advancements of machine learning. We will get into the model evaluation, representation, how do you do hyperparameter tuning of machine learning models, then deployment strategies also. So end to end, this particular piece will talk about all those equations. And then once that is completed, we'll get into the NLP side of it. We'll understand the base of NLP. Natural language processing was there for many years. We will understand the core concepts of NLP. Then when we get into the generative AI, we will eventually understand, how to relate natural language processing with generative AI. So we'll do basics of text analytics. We'll understand about some concepts like stemming, lemmatization. How do we create matrices? How do we use something called as TF-IDF for doing NLP? Once NLP is completed, we'll get into deep learning. Deep learning is, again, very foundational for doing generative AI-based models, especially with respect to image and videos. So we'll understand about different concepts of deep learning. How do we understand the concepts of base model, hidden Markov models, doing some basic optimization, and also using deep learning for doing traditional machine learning work, how to build a image similarity engine using deep learning. So some examples we'll take here for understanding the deep learning. We'll also get a little deeper into some of the deep learning models like convolutional neural networks, recurrent neural networks. Again, these are very foundational for our image and text-to-based generative AI modelings. So we'll understand the basics of it, and then we'll get into generative AI. In generative AI, we are talking about different frameworks which will be used in generative AI. Specifically, we'll talk about LangChain, How do you do integration with respect to Hugging Face, creating some kind of fine-tuning models of Hugging Face, setting up your end-to-end development environment, and then building respective generative AI applications. I'll show you like step-by-step tutorials about creating real-time chatbots, content generators, how do you do data augmentation. There is also another concept which we'll be learning called as RAG. That is also important for creating your end-to-end generative AI applications. Then we'll get into deep concepts of RAG. RAG is called as retrieval augmented generation. This is where we use the latest concepts of large language models for doing content generation. We'll see like how do you develop a RAG application, how do you do some kind of fine-tuning with respect to your RAG applications, optimizing your RAG models for doing proper deployment, and also seeing some of the best practices for maintaining these RAG models. Once this is completed, the entire projects, there are like, I have listed 6 projects, but we will do even more than that. These are some of the projects with respect to AI, and especially generative AI. We'll see like how do you build an end-to-end customer service chatbot, AI-based browser generator. We'll also see, meeting minutes-based automation bot can be created. A multi-modal customer support agent. The basic one is this one, but when you see like you're sending some kind of images, some kind of text, and so on, how do we create that multi-modal text generator is also used. Nowadays, generative AI is also used for development, creating codes, and so on. So we see like how do we use a code converter or code generator using some of these LLM models. And one more project, how do you use RAG for creating an expert knowledge worker? So we create something called as knowledge bases within my company. So we'll see like how do you create knowledge bases of a lot of information which is available in terms of documents, in terms of SharePoint files, Confluence pages, and so on. How do you create a knowledge worker which can feed in all the documents, company related documents, and can become like an expert, answer all the questions in real time. So these are some of the projects, but there are more projects we'll be doing during the course. Every module will also have a practical project which will be associated. The students will be going through all those projects in real time. And most of my course will be like a practical code oriented. I will have a minimum presentation based things. Mostly we'll be learning like how do you install local applications of data science, how do we run data science using Google Colab. All those things we will be learning right from the first week itself. So that is the structure of the course, and this is a brief content structure.
A quick question, a couple of questions.
Hmm.
The first thing is like, who is the best fit regarding that? In our Indian education system, it's not possible for 360 degrees for sure. Suppose
Yes.
when you see this data science or data engineer or data analyst, some courses they are going to teach like a Python, some they don't know anything about statistics. I saw like, Bayesian models and Markov and the time series analysis and all those things, that part is like, so because BTech with computer science or BTech with, forget about this MS degree. MS degree here is junk. I know that. So talking about like bachelors, so even I'm talking to a lot of the students, I'm asking a first question, tell me what is your bachelor's? Because master's is everybody is computer science or data science or something like that. So who is the best fit for this course? Because the problem here in US right now is getting job is very tough, first of all.
Hmm.
So because a lot of, like, you mentioned like robots, like all the chat box, etc., everything that went to 10 steps further. All the interviews, AI based interviews are going on right now. So
Hmm.
even resume screening also with AI part. So that's the reason these people wants to get a job. That's the one reason. So who is the best? If we want to take it like a 10 people, for example,
Hmm.
what is the educational background for this?
Okay.
Sapna,
So
can you please note down all these things?
yeah, you want me to list down them, like what would be the best?
No, no, that is because, because when you see your presentation that contains a diagram end-to-end ABC bank, I am also a data scientist, because I am in different area, I am more like a statistician, something like that. You are
Hmm.
talking about like ABC bank, data collection part and probably data, manipulation of the part and finally are visualizing that part. Probably in
Hmm.
this case, deployment, etc. I'm talking more like a high level. So
Hmm.
that is the exact situation. Who is the right person? So if we want to hire, so
Hmm.
what skill set is required for them?
Hmm.
Basic, I mean, foundation. Foundation is
Yeah.
because I can understand like, Sitaram, like, you are telling a lot of things within this half an hour. The problem is now, I know you have like 19 years of experience or all the times. See, when we are studying, our approach is different. Now
Hmm.
students' approach is totally different, totally different. So in
Yeah.
this situation, how we want to make them into, you mentioned the word is a return of investment. Same thing like they are investing their time and they are
Hmm.
investing their money. What is
Yeah.
their return of investment is get a job.
Get a job. Yeah.
Hope you understand my logic
No, no,
is.
I completely agree with you.
Mm,
So to your question, right? So the
mm,
persons who will be rightly suited will be somebody who has done um, have a base bachelor's degree in computer science or IT, right? And they have a decent understanding of any Python, any programming language, preferably Python, right?
okay.
Programming language can be Java, C, C++. If they are having a decent understanding of any programming language, they will be able to fit into this. Because within our course, we'll not be teaching the programming language. So somebody who's already having that understanding will be a right fit. Now, once that understanding is there, then the roles which they are very well suited is the junior data scientist roles or the machine learning engineer roles. These are the two roles which I will target for somebody like a fresher or like somebody like a entry level programmer. For them, they need to have this strong understanding of the programming. And then during the course, we'll be teaching them like how do you use Python, how do you use Python for creating models, and so on. If they have also understanding of, as you said, like statistics and things like that, it is a bonus. But within the course, what we are doing is I will provide them mathematics for data science and statistics for data science as an additional module. While I'm planning to record that and then provide that as a course structure. Um, it is additional material to have a solid understanding of the mathematics and statistics behind the concepts. While our course will be more application oriented, it is like application applied AI. That's what I will call applied AI, where given a problem like how do I create systems of all that stuff. So that is what our primary focus would be. But when given like they also need to face interviews, they also need to have some kind of understanding of how these models are working and so on. So we'll focus on that piece as well.
Yeah. Okay. Prasad Garu, how you feel it? Sitaram, don't misunderstand. What is your educational background?
I did my MTech from BITS Pilani. I'm currently pursuing my PhD from IIIT Hyderabad.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. I'm also doing double doctorate. In fact, one in doctorate in business administration from Rushford Business School. So both are going in parallel. It will take some time for a doctorate to complete.
Oh, nice. Very good. Very good.
And then I work in a large banking corporation as a senior vice president also. So teaching is my passion. And I used to associate with Career IT for, I think, like more than 4 or 5 years. Uh, there was
So
a,
you are staying in Hyderabad?
I'm in Hyderabad, yes.
Oh, okay, nice, nice. Okay, okay. Mhm. Yeah, seems to be nowadays like, yeah, for your end, you are excellent for sure, no doubt at all. But problem is with how these students is nowadays, particularly in the US, like, they are doing proxy, lot of stuff, So
Mm,
I don't want to do any unethical things. The first step is very clear on that side. Only because of the Trump is a president now, he like now everybody is wants to learn something first of all. That's only the reason. Otherwise, no, definitely they don't want to read anything. So in this case, like you have like a vast experience, and the way you are presenting is too much within half an hour or 1 hour. How these students are going to absorb? That is my concern first of all. And the second one is, as you mentioned, like everybody think about, I know Python, I know SAS, I know SAP, I know Oracle. You name it, the software, they know it, first of all. That's what exactly in our present situation now.
mm,
So even they don't know what is pandas or numpy, they don't know basics also. That's the problem. Now I'm thinking about like, if we want to take like a couple of people, probably if we have some time, 15, 20 minutes, like, your convenient time, we can evaluate these people. Hey, these guys are good. Okay, we can train them and we are going to place them, something like that. That we can do that. So probably that is the best thing in my understanding, because lot of things, lot of information is lot of things they need to learn if you are going to become like a data engineer or a data scientist or a data analyst, even though.
mm.
So very high level is converting the massive amount of data into meaningful information. That
Correct.
meaningful information helps management to take better decisions. So whatever your whole diagram, like, getting the data, too much of data, we are analyzing, we are processing, we are transforming. Finally, we want to visualize it. We want to like something dashboard application, something like that. So for that case, yes, they need to know about statistics, they need to know programming language and whatever, Scrum, all those deployment, all these things is required. These people, like, able to go with this level or not, I'm thinking first question is like,
Mm.
it's not like a single one person, it's a total lot of things is there, lot of right now. So what, Prasad, are you there? I think, yeah, Prasad is there. Shai Prasad. You are in mute, Prasad. Hello. If you don't mind, can you please share this syllabus to me? Because tomorrow morning I have a session with a
Mm.
student. That the session we are going to, like, how is our training model? First of all, our training model is like, Google Cloud Platform training. This contains this many of modules. I don't want to go with higher level, just what is generative AI and something like that. It's almost like a 2 months rigorous everyday training session. You need to do this, and after that, another 2 months, yes, you are able to get the interviews and you are able to get opportunities. That is my focus. So
Mm.
for that case, previously we are with only R Python, SAS, SAS clinical, what very restricted to one particular part. Now, like, because of the situation is changes, now we started a lot of training courses also. That is the reason I want to, like, like, work with you people actually. Generally,
Mm.
tomorrow, sometimes, we can discuss these things. You mentioned like, suppose, is it possible we can make it these sessions in only weekends?
Generally, my sessions are on weekdays. I want to keep my weekends free for family and
No,
all.
I understand. Like, problem is like, particularly for US, these people are like, problem is like, they are working with like a weekdays work, probably weekends, like, a couple of hours or something they want to do this. Okay, that's fine, because once we start something, we don't know how it is goes through. So for you are open only for weekdays, that morning, like, 6:30 or 7 o'clock to 1 hour, or like, that's what
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
How you are going to provide this material?
So there will be Google Drive,
Oh,
entire
okay.
drive is
Okay.
provided. So every
That,
day video recording will be provided, as well as every day there will be codes would be provided. They will be uploaded in the drive. So the entire
okay.
course structure is followed, and the same drive material will
So
be.
you are using the Zoom for all these sessions, right?
Zoom will be used for all the sessions. I think I don't see Lakshmi Garu. I think she might have dropped off, but she will be the coordinator from Career IT. They will provide you this the the curriculum. You can check with them. They'll
Okay.
they'll be able to provide you the entire curriculum and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So that
So
that is
you are working through that Career IT solutions.
yes.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
they are the ones who are coordinating actually.
Mhm. Okay. Good. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, absolutely. So definitely we will discuss, like, I'm going to talk to even Prasad also, and our people are here, Sopna and Moise, like, we want to discuss these things, and we want to market this particular training sessions, probably sometime next week, we want to start these sessions. Suppose if we want to start the session, how much is the minimum number of students in your batch?
No, the batch is already running right now, as I said.
Oh, we want to start with a fresh batch, something like that.
Okay. So you
Like
want,
before that, like hi, this is Simha.
Mm.
yeah, Simha.
Yeah, just like what is your available schedule? So accordingly, we can plan different batches.
Okay. So if you want to start a different batch, then it would be because currently, as I said, right, we just
Mhm.
started one batch, which is
Mhm.
happening from 6:30 to 7:30 IST.
Okay.
The
Okay.
thought was if you guys are comfortable, you want to have a batch started, then we can club with that and then run it.
Okay, that batch is from all US students or Indian students?
Yeah, mix of it.
Oh,
Mostly US. I
mhm.
would say
So
90% are US.
Oh, okay.
so
Okay.
currently you have 6:30 to 7:30 a.m. EST. Sorry, IST.
IST, yes.
Indian standard time, yes, sir.
Okay. If we need to start a different batch, we don't want to mix with they. So
Hmm.
like will be the preferable time?
It will be 7:30 to 8:30 IST. That is the only,
Okay.
but it will be quite late for, I'm not sure what is the time zone. If you are EST time zone, then it should be okay. But
We are staying in EST time zone, but we don't know
EST.
the students are coming from across the country. So
hmm,
probably like, yeah, for them,
that,
if 6 to be is okay, like, yeah, we'll see, we'll figure it
Like
out.
yeah, we have two options. Either depends on the students. We may plan and yeah, we can update
yeah.
him.
I think for that, I would recommend you guys to talk to Lakshmi or Kondal Rao from Career IT. So they are the right people to talk.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, Sitaram,
Okay.
like it.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, we really impressed with your the way you are going to explain all these things. That should be absolutely is fine. We are thinking like how we want to make it more productive for using these sessions. That's only the constraint. That is not in our end. The hard work is comes from students.
Yeah.
Because
I
they are going to digest all these things. Still, I'm thinking about it, like, yeah.
Yeah. One thing is that, see, the course is also, as I said, the course is mixed people. Uh, the current batch, right? So they are not, there are some students also, but majority we see that there are professionals who are already, say, like 10, 15 years experience. They are like already well versed with the entire technology, but now they want to hop onto the data science bandwagon. So that is kind of a mixed batch, right?
Yeah.
If there is like pure students, starting students, like a fresher kind of a thing, they need a slower tempo, where I might have to spend a little more on, say, like basics, and then eventually, based on their grasping capabilities, we speed up the tempo. That is
Okay.
that is something is required. So I want you to consider that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mhm.
So
That's good. Good.
if you have any other questions, I can answer that.
Yeah, I don't have any other questions for sure. Just like us. Okay. Yep. Okay. Can you please share that Lakshmi or who is the
Yeah,
responsible?
I'm not sure why
Phone
they
number.
dropped off, but
Phone
I'll.
number, then I will talk to them regarding the further next steps, because I know you are only a trainer, you have a lot of, barriers to talk a lot of things.
Yeah.
So,
I hope you understand. So,
I know I can understand, like, definitely, we are professionals, like, just like as I worked as a head of department of statistics in India for almost 10 years. For last 25 years, 26 years, I am in US working with big companies. I I started my trainings in 2003 or 4, So I taught like thousands of people across the globe, Name it in Hyderabad, every pharma or even Wells Fargo, all the companies, my students working there itself. So
very nice.
I know that, like, but the only constraint I am thinking about is the student psychology. Student psychology nowadays, they are not interested to work hard.
Yep.
So basic
I agree.
criteria, they are not interested to work hard. They want to make money with
Quick
easy
results.
process.
Quick results.
Yeah, of course, easy. So that is the reason how even I'm very much interested. Like, when you see this all these things, I spend so much time with understanding this. Deal.ai.
Deal.
Deal.ai.
Okay. I've not.
I took the membership for 1 year membership. It is doing a lot of things. You want
Glean.
Deal, DEAL, deal.ai.
Okay.
And I am a subject matter expert for good AI, GOOD, good AI. The company is there actually. I am working with some improving the clinical trials applications using with artificial intelligence. We are using a lot of LLM models, even though I am not too much strong in Python side, I am using Python, using with, AI technology, frankly speaking.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the reason. Okay. Anyhow, like, yeah, I think Prasad knows about Rashmi or, the person's numbers. Definitely, I want to talk to them first. I think they have this curriculum, I want you or other people need to share the curriculum. That is better for me, because depending upon the job requirement, we need to tweak this curriculum little bit, like, that's I want to work with this, including adding some modules or deleting, because US market is our goal is actually. Yeah, that's the reason. And you mentioned about the basic, those people are good enough, definitely we will go from there.
Yes. Okay.
Any questions from other people? Yeah, Simha, Sapna, Prasad. If we don't have any questions, then we can wrap up this meeting.
My end, I'm good. Just
Yeah.
we're fine.
Yeah, well, good. Yeah, if you don't have any issues, can you please share this recording to us? Definitely, we want to go and listen this recording one more time. That's where our people can market this curriculum to students actually. Hey, we are going to teach all these things. Nobody is going to teach something like this. That's what, of course, our marketing strategy comes into the picture. So, particularly you showed that last diagram like ABC Bank to ABC Bank, middle like even if you are a ETL guy like Benicio or that guy, you are fit into this situation, and you are like a statistics person, you are going to fit in this direction, and you are a QA engineer. That's a very good example you mentioned, QA engineer. Oh, then you are going to machine learning engineer or something like that. That means in this whole diagram, every person is going to fit somewhere else in this data science world. So
Yeah.
that is the very important. Nowadays, everybody wants to go like a data scientist or something like that. So for that means I don't want you to lose your previous experience. You, depending upon previous experience, you need to tweak or you need to sharpen your skills, and you are going to fit in this direction. That
Yeah.
leads to next level. That is very good. Like, probably you mentioned a couple of things, I added more.
Yeah.
That's what I want to realize. I want to train our people for marketing for these things. Yep. I think, hope you understand.
Yeah. That's the practical way. I've previously also we have did I trained so many people, and those directions were taken, and they are now into those jobs. So that
So
is
why you are staying there? Why don't you come to US? You have a double masters, double PhD, all is double. Like, you can make your money also double.
Yeah, I stayed in US for almost 7 years. I was in
Oh,
New
great.
Jersey itself. I
New
was in.
Jersey. Oh, okay. We are all in New Jersey actually. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was in New Jersey, Parsippany for all these years. Parsippany,
Oh, I worked at the Whippany Parsippany nearby. Yep.
Route 10.
This should be good. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, okay, thanks,
Thank you very
Siddharth.
much. Yeah.
I
Thank you.
will, definitely. By personally, like I can. You see my numbers are there actually. My India number and US number is there. You see the number 73269247448 is my US number.
Mm-hmm.
You can take another number for also my India office number. Then anytime you can call me. In WhatsApp is also there. Definitely, we will keep in touch. That's better.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks very much. Bye bye.
Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Right,
Bye.
Prasad, you want to say something?
Thank you, Andy. Thanks for giving a demo. Okay. We will talk to
Yeah. Can
Konal Garu
you
and get back to you.
contact
Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
Lakshmi?
Yeah. I will talk Lakshmi and Kondalu.
Yeah. They have all the curriculum. They will give this video also.
Perfect. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you very much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.